Have you ever been afraid of being alone? Most of us are taught to avoid silence, to fill every space with chatter, noise, distractions. But what if I told you that it's in solitude, in the deep and sacred act of being alone, that we uncover the true path to inner freedom? Today, we're diving into the transformative power of solitude, how choosing to be alone can become your greatest ally in self-discovery, creativity, and spiritual connection. 1. Solitude, the powerful choice to be alone with purpose. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness hurts. It feels like abandonment, emptiness, lack. But solitude is different. It's intentional. It's when you deliberately step away from the noise of the world, not because you're running from life, but because you're reaching towards something deeper. Picture a monk in meditation, eyes closed, wrapped in stillness. From the outside, he is alone, but on the inside, he is in communion with himself, with life, with the universe. Solitude is that sacred meeting with your essence. 2. The deep benefits of solitude. In solitude, you create space. A space where you can finally hear something the outside world cannot tell you, your own truth. That's where your emotions begin to make sense. Your desires come into focus. Your fears rise, not to paralyze, but to be healed. How many times have you said, "I don't even know what I want anymore"? It's likely because you never paused, never truly listened, never sat in silence long enough to meet yourself. Solitude is that moment. It's the quiet between distractions, where the soul can finally breathe and reorganize. Try this. Set aside 15 minutes each day just for you. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just you and your silence. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, but over time, you'll begin to notice a mental clarity that wasn't there before. That's your inner voice finally getting through. 3. Loneliness versus solitude, the critical difference. We live in a culture obsessed with constant connection. Being alone often carries a silent stigma. But being alone doesn't mean being unwell. The key lies in intention. Imagine this. 2 people sit in separate homes. One is scrolling endlessly through messages and social media, surrounded by content, yet still feels painfully disconnected. The other turns off the phone, lights a candle, and writes in a journal. She's alone and in complete peace. Loneliness is the absence of connection. Solitude is the presence of self. And that presence is powerful. For modern life and escape from ourselves, we live in a society addicted to doing, to speed, to productivity, to being useful, visible, validated. But behind all that motion is often a quiet truth. We're running from ourselves. Ever caught yourself doom scrolling without even knowing why? Turning on the TV just to avoid silence? These aren't habits. They're tiny escapes, desperate attempts to avoid the stillness. Because in stillness, truth emerges. And sometimes we're not ready to face it. But that's exactly where transformation begins. 5. Discovering who you really are. Solitude offers a mirror, a place where we can look at ourselves without roles, without masks, without needing to perform. When we silence the outer world, we finally hear the voice within. Try asking yourself in solitude, who am I without my job? Who am I when no one is watching? What truly brings me joy? These questions seem simple, but they demand courage, and courage is born in stillness. 6. Solitude and creativity, a sacred space for creation. Many of the world's most brilliant creations were born in solitude. Van Gogh painted in solitude. Einstein birthed his theories through deep, quiet reflection. Writers retreat to cabins. musicians to remote studios because they know creation needs quiet. When the world becomes still, the imagination begins to speak. Try this. If you're creative or simply seeking new ideas, go alone to a park, a quiet room, bring a notebook, leave your phone. Give your mind the permission to wander. That's where inspiration hides. Solitude is fertile ground. It's where seeds of brilliance are planted. 7. Solitude as a spiritual practice. All great spiritual traditions recognize the power of solitude. Jesus spent 40 days in the desert. Buddha meditated alone under a tree until enlightenment. Moses climbed a mountain alone to speak with God. Solitude isn't just a pause. It's a portal, a gateway to what is timeless, formless, beyond the ego. Try this. Begin with 10 minutes of silent meditation each day, not as a task, but as a sacred appointment with the divine within you. That silence isn't empty. It's full of everything you've been looking for. 8. The age of distraction and the cost of superficial living. We have access to everything, except ourselves. We're constantly online, but rarely present. Social media gives us company, but not connection. Notifications keep us busy, but not awake. And when everything falls silent, many panic. That's why learning to be alone is a quiet revolution, a radical act of inner freedom. Try this. Schedule a 24-hour digital retreat. No internet, no screens, no noise, just books, paper, silence. Pay attention to your discomfort, because inside that discomfort is where you finally meet yourself. 9. How to practice solitude in daily life. Solitude doesn't require a 30-day retreat in the mountains. It can live in the small moments, in your quiet morning coffee, in a walk with no music, just footsteps and wind, in the sacred minutes before sleep, when you ask yourself the real questions. Simple practices you can start today. Write 1 page in a journal each day. Take a solo walk. No phone, no podcasts. Begin your mornings with 3 deep breaths in gratitude. Read something that feeds your soul. Small steps. But over time, they lead to massive interchange. 10. Conclusion. The journey back to your center. Solitude is not about isolation. It's about integration. It's not loneliness. It's coming home. It's the space where you realize you are not empty. You are whole. And once you learn to be alone, you'll never feel lonely again, because you'll have the one thing that truly matters, yourself. If you're seeking clarity, peace, or purpose, start with solitude, not as an escape, but as a return. Unplug from the noise, even just for a few minutes. And then listen. There's a voice within you, whispering who you really are. Let it speak. And if this message resonated with your soul, subscribe to The Healing Vibe, where we explore the quiet truths that change everything.